Hey there, it's Jake from GeoTargetly, and in this tutorial I will be walking you through our most commonly used feature, Geo Redirect. So let's start by taking a look at what Geo Redirect is. I'll just borrow our product page over here, and it shows you what Geo Redirect does, what the use cases are, and so on. But in simplicity, Geo Redirect enables you to determine the visitor location of your visitors when they're entering your page, and based on this visitor location, it directs them to a specific page based on where they're coming from. In other words, let's picture a situation in which you have a United States store and then a Canadian store. So basically, visitors from Canada should be automatically or promptly redirected to the Canadian site, whereas the US ones should be hitting the .com. Maybe a better way to demonstrate what GeoRedirect does is via our on-page demos, which you can find on this URL. It will be in the description. And there are several ways to handle the redirection to make it the best possible experience for your visitors. What you're seeing here is redirection based on a pop-up. And you can customize this pop-up. I'll show you more in a second. You can kind of display the visitor location. I'm currently in Czech Republic, that's why it says Czech Republic. You can let them choose the location or the destination URL that they should be going to, but there are many more ways. It does not need to be pop-up. It can be automatic redirection. Basically, I'm getting there already without any prompt. There can be a bar-based redirection, as you can see over here, or bottom bar, something like that. It can be a pop-up plus a selector, which you already saw, or it might be a bar plus a selector. Basically, we offer quite a lot of templates that you can choose from, or you might not want to redirect the visitors right out of the gate. You might want to give them the option to choose, which you can do via our location picker, as you can see over here. And this is not prompted. This is based on the user clicking on an element. So this is what Geo Redirect does, and these are the different ways that you can get to redirection. But let's see what you need to do in order to set up Geo Redirect. So now we will be kind of going into the second section of this tutorial, which is how to set it up within the GeoTargetly application. In order to set up Geo Redirect, what you need to do, you need to have a GeoTargetly account. If you already have an account, go ahead and log in. But if you don't, GeoTargetly offers a 14-day free trial. And basically, we do not require any credit card information to start the trial, and you have access to all of the features without any limitations during the trial. In order to get a trial, click on any of these try 14 days free buttons on our page. And once you get to the page, just create an account. Once you get to GeoTargetly, to your account, it should be looking something like this, and this is where we'll start. But before we actually dive into the setup itself, I need to mention that GeoTargetly is our most commonly used feature, and I already said that, but that means two things. First thing is it's our most complex feature because we try to serve a lot of customers and most of them are using this feature. Therefore, we try to cover a lot of use cases. So it can get a bit complex. That's what this tutorial is for. I want to show you the ins and outs of it. But even in this video, I don't think I will be able to go into detail on all of the sub features of Geo Redirect. But the good news is that basically, as it is so complex, we really try to have a well built out documentation for Geo Redirect, which you can find over here at GeoTargetly Docs Geo Redirect. Once again, this will be mentioned in the video description. And basically, just to give you an idea, there's a lot of content here, and I will try to reference it throughout this tutorial. And good news, for most of the setups, we have kind of these sub guides in slideshows which show you specifically what you need to do inside the application, where to click, what to set up, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's take a look at how to set Geo Redirect up. First thing, once you get into the product, you can either go to Geo Redirect from the sidebar. Sorry, let me just minimize this, or you can edit from over here from the product dashboard. So let's just do that. And right out of the gate, you will be prompted with a selection. You can either select automatic Geo Redirect or a one that has a notification for the visitor, such as a pop-up or a bar. It doesn't really matter what you choose here, you can change it after you set it up. So let's just go with automatic redirection for right now, and I'll show you more about the pop-ups and bars in a second. The next page that you will get to is this one, and let's say that we want to start by naming our setup in some way. So let's say we will be mocking up a Geo Redirect. So let's say that visitors from Czech Republic should be led to a different page. So let's call it CZ to homepage. Let's say that we want to send Czech visitors to our homepage if they hit a certain page. I'm just making it up. Cool. On the first step of the setup, you will be greeted by three kind of sub options. First being the website. What this means is you need to provide GeoTargetly with information on what URLs or what pages you want to run Geo Redirect on. You can select from three options here. It's either all pages of a website, selected pages of a website, or a specific page only. Basically, the difference in between the three of these is you are letting GeoTargetly know on which pages the tracking code should be executed. If you select the first one, basically, as long as any subpage carries the domain that you provide here, and we will be providing geotargetly.com, the tracking code will be able to run on any subpage of this domain. If you go with selected pages of a website, you still only need to provide the domain, and then you can select which pages it should and should not run on in the step 2. I will be showing you that in a second. But if you select redirect a specific page only, you need to provide a full URL over here, because if you just add the domain here, it will only be able to run on the root page of that domain. So for simplicity's sake, let's just go with all pages of a website, and we can work out how to implement it, how to trigger it on specific pages in a bit. So with this out of the way, let's take a look at the redirect type. And for redirect type, you can choose in principle from two options. You either do the redirection automatically without any notification to the visitor, so they won't even see the page that they navigated to. So let's say once again the example of a Canadian visitor coming to a .com page, but should be redirected to .ca. With this option selected, they will never see the .com, they will directly be sent to .ca. But if you use the second option, which is use pop-up or announcement bar, requesting permission to redirect, they will see the original page with the overlay of the notification element, and they can choose whether they want to follow it or not. So if you choose this, the first thing that I will show you is the themes that you can modify, because there are several. So I'll just go ahead and click on edit theme over here. And you can see on the side, there are several ways to, or several templates to choose from. You can select the theme. Basically what this does is it changes what the general shape of the notification is. So it's either pop-up or pop-up with an image, or a bottom bar or a top bar. So these are the four options. And for all four of these options, you can then customize them further by selecting whether you want a single button, two buttons, single button with a close option, and so on and so forth. Or if you want to have a logo there, a title, a subtitle, and so on and so forth. Even further, you can fully customize these pop-ups by selecting the color that they should be in, what the font size should be, what the spacing should be, and so on and so forth. But for simplicity's sake, let's go with a pop-up. Let's go with a drop down, and let's just go with the title and a subtitle, because that might be easiest. But as I said, you can go with a image as well, and so on. So as I said, let's do pop-up, drop down, and title and a subtitle, and let's keep the other settings as they are now, because this looks good to me for now. So I'll just hit done. Cool. Now let's do a further kind of further setup, and for drop-down placeholder text, let's just say country. This is what will be written over here when no selection is made. So this is just a placeholder. Let's just do country for now. You might have noticed that there are other options that you can choose when selecting the pop-up, and there are a few, so let's go over them. First up, we have countdown and redirect after given amount of seconds. Basically what this does is it includes one more kind of bar in the pop-up, and this bar counts down, and after the timer goes out, the visitor will be redirected, whether they made a choice or not, to the destination URL of your choosing. Then you can select, but let's turn it off. You can select this, which is remember visitor selection for n amount of hours. And basically what you can do here is once your visitor reaches your page for the first time, they will make a selection on where to be redirected. And after they made the selection for the first time, they will be redirected to the same destination without needing to make that selection for the specified amount of hours. This is good for when you know that your visitors are frequenting your site again and again, so that they do not need to be selecting again and again. Also, an alternative to specified time, you can have the selection of the visitor remembered for the browser session only. So as long as they are within the same session, they will not be prompted to do the selection for the redirection, or you can show up the pop-up every n hours. So it's not the remembering of the selection, but rather you can say, okay, as long as this time is out, I should be saying showing the pop-up to this specific visitor again. But let's not go with any of these now that we know what they do. Let's just keep it as is. Final thing that you can select within the first step is the enable visitors to open a location selector to manually switch sites. Basically, this is what I was showing you in the demos over here. So this is the manual selector. And for the manual selector, once again, you need to provide us with some information on like what the logo that's used there should be, subtitle text, and so on and so forth. But what this does, it once you save the whole setup, it generates a code for you that you can then use in your content management software that basically generates that selector for you. I will not be going through this right now because it's a bit advanced or a bit too detailed. So let's just click this off, and you can find more about that over here in the documents. And as I was showing you, as I was saying, basically the docs have content on automatic redirection, the pop-up based redirection, how the designs can be changed, as I already showed you, or the countdowns and remembering user selection, and so on and so forth. Basically everything I touched on already. But let's go with the pop-up, and let's go with all pages of a website on step 1. Moving onwards to step 2. On step 2, you need to define the locations for which the redirection should be triggered. And as we said, we want to redirect check visitors if they're hitting a specific page to a home page. Why not? So what we'll do is we'll rename the segment, and first we need to define what the locations are, or how they are defined. So you'll need to click on add, and we offer several ways to target. You can either select countries, states, such as states in the US, or the provinces in Canada, cities, a pinpoint on a map, and a radius around it, or an IP address or an IP address range. But let's go with country, as it is the most commonly used for geo-targetly and also the most precise. And as I said, let's just do Czech Republic, why not? Then you need to specify the redirect URL, like when a visitor from Czech Republic hits your page, where should they be redirected? And I want them to be redirected to, you know what, let's change it up a bit, to the demo page. This should be the page that they're redirected from, and I want to redirect them to this page. And let's say that I want this to happen not only on a page that specifically matches this, but on all of the sub pages there. And therefore, this is the mapping that we're going to use. So I'm saying that any page that starts with geotargetly.com for Czech visitors should be redirected to the demo page. And let me rename over here. Perfect. Then I can select exclusions. So basically, what I want to do is I want to say, okay, it should be all pages, but it should not be this one specific page because I want check visitors to be able to get there. So in the page exclusion, I can select what URLs should be excluded, or if all of the URLs that contain a certain part, or if they have a query parameter or a hash. But let's not do that right now. And the last thing that I need to do is define the pop-up. Basically, if you have more than one segment defined, you can decide whether you want to run the pop-up for that specific segment. But as we currently have just one segment, yes, we want to do the pop-up for that. You can edit the theme, which gets you back to the previous page, and you can then specify the options. So for drop-down text, or let's just do this with placeholders for now. So let's do heading, or this might be simpler. Then we'll do pop-up text over here, button text, and drop-down text. You can also choose to hide the drop-down option so that the visitor needs to make a selection. But let's not do that. Let's give the visitor option to do that. And also for geo-targetly, you can use variables. So for example, in the heading, we want to show the flag so that the visitor knows that they're we know what country they're coming from, or we might do that, I don't know, in the drop down at the beginning. This is what is very commonly done by our customers. You'll see this in effect in a second. So this is how you set it up. Also, what you can do is define more location segments. In order to define more location segments, you either hit add location here or add more location, or you can bulk import it by clicking this button. Should we go for more location? Basically, it's the same, but I also wanted to show you that the countries that you can import into, or the location rules criteria can be bulk imported as well via CSV. You can find more about that over here in the documentation, but we will not be doing that right now. And I don't want to use this location segment. I just want to do it for check visitors, but I want to show you this one last thing on step 2, which is all other locations. And basically what this means is that there's a segment that captures everything else, or every other location that is not defined within the segments that were manually defined. This is off by default, but you can turn it on, and if you turn it on, you can't input locations. As I said, these are predefined based on the manually defined location segments. You can select a specific destination. You can exclude pages and modify the pop-up as well. But let's not go there. Let's just keep this off for simplicity's sake, so that we can move onwards. But before we do, I realized that there's one more thing that I wanted to show you over here, which is there are several sub options that you can use for each of the location segments. So basically, first up, we have pass subpage path from website URL onto the redirect URL. If you select this, once again, let's review the documentation. What it does is that if a user, for example, hits on a page that is product/head, you redirect them to the destination page, and we dynamically add the sub-page path onto that page. So they won't be redirected to just the homepage or the root page, but we will take what was, after the defined URL, and we will add it towards the end. So if you have multiple pages, for example, different language variations, but they have the same structure, this is a great option to use. So that's the first one. You can also pass a query string from website URL onto redirect URL. Basically what this means is that all of the parameters, such as UTM parameters in the URL, will be passed onwards. If you don't check this, if you don't keep these checks, basically this redirection would only lead to this page, so we would be stripping those. Another thing that you can do is add original and referring domain and medium UTM sources. So basically what this means is that once a user gets into your page, they might have some sort of a UTM source and medium parameters associated with them. And in case you want to move them onwards, to the destination page if they're not explicitly defined, if they're kind of incurred by visitors getting to your page from, I don't know, Facebook or LinkedIn and so on. You can pass those onwards. And there is a sub option over here, which is if no referring domain is detected, we will not send anything, so that we do not screw up your direct traffic tracking. Once again, this is getting a fairly bit technical, so I would suggest you checking out the documentation for this. And finally, override redirect URL using the inside hreflang tag. So basically what this is, once again, explaining the documentation in great detail. If you are using hreflang tags defined like this on your page, and you select this option, you just provide us with the tag value, and our page will kind of dynamically not our page, but Geo Redirect will dynamically determine what destination the visitor should be sent to. But as I said, this is fairly technical, so let's just keep it like this so that we can demonstrate. Perfect. Let's go to the next steps, and you can see that there are a lot of advanced features. We will be getting to those in a second, but first I want to show you how Geo Redirect gets implemented, and then we'll return to this so that you can see it in action. Cool. So on the next step, basically, you need to hit save once you're happy with how you implement it or how you set up the configuration. And what that's going to do is it's going to generate this code. And this is the tracking code that you need to implement to your site. It's just a one-time implementation, and once you do, Geo Redirect should be working on your site. So I'll be just copying this, and I will be showing you how to implement it specifically for Webflow, because Webflow is the CMS that we use at GeoTargetly. But once again, if we go into the docs, basically, if you go into integration over here, you can see that for every common content management software, we have a specific sub guide. So I would leave this to your kind of investigation to find your CMS and navigate the guide based on that. Also, you can select the platform from over here. So I could be kind of going for Webflow. The code remains the same, but basically it tells me how to implement it, and I can also get to the docs as I was showing you from here as well. So for Webflow, you can implement it in two ways. Either from the dashboard, your site dashboard, you need to select the project for which you want to implement it, click on Site Settings, and in Site Settings go into the left sidebar and hit Custom Code. And as it was shown in the application, you need to put it into the header. So for the header over here, we would need to put it inside this section of the website. But for this specific demonstration, even though this would be the best way forward, I want to do it a bit differently, which is I will be only implementing it for a specific site. So let's take this site for an example. I oftentimes use it for testing stuff. So you need to hit the page settings or hit the cogwheel over here, and you need to implement the code for redirection into the header, into the custom code header. Then you need to hit save. And after you hit save, you need to publish it to production. So I just initiated that process, but let me pause the video here so that you don't need to watch me watch the loaders spin. Cool. And a couple minutes later, we're at production so that we can now see it in action and test, see whether it's working as it should, and so on. So what we did, once again, just a brief reminder for visitors in Czech Republic, which I am in Czech Republic, if they hit a specific page, if they hit any page, but we only implement it for one page. So if they hit that specific page, they should be redirected to the demo page. So the page that we implemented it on is this one, HTML5 Geolocation. So if I go there, I should be seeing a pop-up, and you can see that it was modified. So we can see the heading text, we added the dynamically generated flag over there, pop-up text, and a drop-down text. So basically, if I click the button, I should be redirected to the stores, to the demos, and you can see that in the bottom left corner of the screen right now, that's where I will be going. So that's the redirection. One more thing that we can do, and what I wanted to show you as well, at the same time, is that this tracking code is really a one-time install. So if you make any changes within the GeoTargetly setup, such as, I don't know, you realize that you don't want to use the pop-ups, you want to do the automatic redirection over here. Once you click save, the tracking count does not change. It stays the same, and therefore you do not need to do anything about the implementation. So you just hit save in the application and it should work all the same once you get to the page. So sorry, over here, let's go to the HTML5 page, and you saw that I was directly redirected, or automatically redirected without any pop-up shown. I didn't even see the original page. So that's pretty much how to see it in action. So that's Geo Redirect. Going back into the application, there are pretty much two more things that I want to show you, or three more things that I want to show you there. First up is the advanced settings. Let's quickly go over them. Once again, they're really well documented and quite technical, so I'll just do a brief recap. Second thing that I want to show you after that is multi-domain or multi-page redirection. And finally, we will be looking into troubleshooting, analytics, and so on. So, advanced settings. As I said, each of these is well defined in the documentation, but in simplicity. The first one, what it does is, if you check it, you will instruct Geo Redirect to only redirect visitors from external sources. In other words, it's only once they first visit the page, and after the first visit of your page, after the first redirection is being made, they won't be redirected anymore. So basically, if you don't keep this checked, even navigation within the website will cause a redirection. Once again, very well defined. Just click on this, you'll see more. Then we have refer source and IP whitelisting. What you can do over here is you can whitelist or allow list referring domains or IP addresses. In other words, if you provide us with a domain over here, I don't know, let's say Facebook or any other domain, your other domains that you might have, such as, I don't know, if we had geotargetly.com and geotargetly.ca, we could provide here geotargetly.ca, so that once visitors are getting to geotargetly.com from geotargetly.ca, they wouldn't be redirected because this is a referring domain. Or if you want to, I don't know, for your colleagues that you know the IP address of, you want to prevent them from experiencing the redirection because it's detrimental to their work or something like that, you can provide their IP address over here, and you do not need to provide a full IP address. You can also do IP address ranges by using asterisks as part of the IP. Also, you can define for how long this should be in place. So it will be only happening for a specific user for specified amount of hours after their first visit from that referring domain or the IP address. Further on, when it comes to redirection, you also need to stay on top of SEO, because it's different pages, it might be different languages and so on. And when it comes to SEO, you naturally go to crawling. And when it comes to crawling, basically it's best to kind of exclude the crawlers from visiting your site via a redirection, because also crawlers are not incurring any country. So when it comes to bypassing the redirection for these crawlers, you basically just need to list them over here. And once again, for more details on how SEO is impacting Geo Redirect, I would just defer you to the docs. And I think we have a whole section on SEO over here. Let me just quickly, yeah, you can see it over here, basically a whole section on SEO. So if you're interested in SEO, there's a lot of documentation over here that you can look into. Perfect. Moving right along. Also, what you can do is use our disabling of the redirection via a URL query parameter. So if you check this, you need to define the parameter. Let's do redirect equals off. And if I save the setup now, even though when I'm visiting the this page from Czech Republic, I should be redirected. But if I use the parameter of redirect equals off, I will be able to bypass the redirection and get to that page. Once again, this is great if you have, for example, colleagues that normally would be redirected, but you don't want them to experience the redirection, or if you have specific clients that kind of fit the location criteria, but they need to be able to hit the page, you can just set this prevention of redirection via URL parameter for them, and that's how they can get to the end site. So that's another thing, we can keep it on, why not? And finally, query parameters. This option just tells us whether to put the query parameters before or after the kind of sub-page path or previous query parameters and so on. Once again, quite detailed. It's described over here, and you can find it in the documentation as well. So let's just save it. And as I said, there are two more things to go over. One is multi-domain redirection, and another is test mode plus analytics. So let's start with the multi-domain redirection, and I will be using the guides once again over here. As you can see, we provide you with information of one-way redirection, multi-domain redirection, same-site redirection on switching, or kind of a single-page redirection. Basically, what we set up right now was just one-way redirection. We were saying that if a visitor is from Czech Republic, they should be sent to a location-specific site. But what we didn't do is, for every other visitor that is not from Czech Republic, if they go to the Czech location specific site, they should not get there, because we want to lead them back to the kind of global site, because those are two different contents that we would be serving them. So instead of one-way redirection, we either would need to set up multi-domain redirection or same site geo redirection. So for customers of GeoTargetly who has multiple domains, as for example we were mentioning at the beginning, we might have a .com for US visitors, .ca for Canadian visitors, and .co.uk for UK visitors. What you would need to do, you would need to have 3 separate geo redirect setups, because we are talking about different domains. So the domain extension constitutes a different domain. So basically you would have one that is for .com, and the .com would then check whether the visitors are from Canada or UK and would send them to the respective destination. And you know, in a analogous way, for this domain, it would be checking whether the visitors are from US or Canada and would be sending them to the destination, and so on and so forth. You can find a specified or detailed guide on that over here. And also basically, let's say that you do not have different domains, but you have different sub pages for the specific content. The way to set it up is as described over here. You just need one setup, but basically you need to have specific location segments for each of the locales, and then kind of detecting the visitors, and then sending them to the right destination as is described over here. So you create the segment, you populate it with the countries, and you kind of map the destinations onto them. Once again, if you're interested in this, just go ahead and take a dive into our documentation. Perfect. So that's the multi-domain and kind of same page, multi-page destination. One more thing that I want to show you inside the application though is the test mode and analytics. So basically up until now what we've been doing is we implemented it and it worked right out of the gate, which is great. But in case you ran into any problems, or even if you don't run into problems but you're not physically in the destination for which the redirection should be occurring, we have a built-in test mode which you can use to simulate the location. The way it works is that you would input your IP address over here, and in order to learn your IP address you just need to click on this link, and you will get to our free tool, which is this one. You can also find it from over here by my IP geolocation. And once you get your IP address, you input it over here, you can then search for a destination. So I don't know, we would be going for Canada. You hit on and you hit save, and we will be then simulating the location for your IP address. This is super precise because basically we're using the same data for We're using the same data for the My IP Geolocation free tool as well as for the Geo Redirect. Therefore, if you provide us with your IP address over here in this tool, in the test mode, you can be sure that we're redirecting you the same way as if you were in that physical location with that IP address. Also, another way to test is via VPNs. That's another way to test this. You just need to change the location via that. But VPNs can get a bit tricky. That's why we recommend test mode instead. One more thing that I want to show you when it comes to troubleshooting. So let's say that you set it up and you cannot get the redirection to work. You can check whether the tracking code is implemented correctly on your site by going to the site that should be redirected, then clicking inspect, and over here in the development tools you'll go into network and you'll just type GR question mark and then you'll refresh the page. And what should happen is you should see a custom code being triggered on that page. And basically the GR question mark says that this is a Geo Redirect configuration, and after that it says ID OQ83. And we can go back into the setup, and in the tracking code over here you can see that it says OQ83. So we know that the tracking code is being triggered on that page, and also we know that it is the correct ID, so it is the correct setup. This is important if you had several setups either running on the same page, or if you had several setups for different pages in Geo Redirect, to make sure that the correct one is being triggered on that page. The GR over here is coming from this part of the tracking code, and this is different for our other features. So for example, geo content would have GC over here and so on and so forth, but you'll find more details about that in the other video tutorials. So that's the troubleshooting, test mode, and so on. Finally, analytics. And in the analytics, sorry, I just need to refresh the data. The analytics can be lagging a bit, a couple of minutes behind the real-time consumption. But basically what the analytics show you, and let me just try and refresh that again. So sorry, I'll show you something else instead. Basically what you can see in the analytics is how many page views are being consumed by the setup in total over here, and the same way broken down by each segment. So as we set up a segment for Czech Republic, basically I would see it over here. Instead of showing you, or let me just try and do it one last time. Perfect, it now loaded. So basically you can see that right now we only refreshed the page 3 times. That's why only 3 page views were consumed, and all of those 3 page views came from the Czech Republic segment. Perfect. So that's the situation with the analytics. And as I mentioned, page views over here. Basically, let me quickly explain what page views are. So the way that GeoTargetly works, and not just Geo Redirect, but any of our features, is we trigger, or you implement a tracking code on your page, and each time that page gets reloaded, the tracking code is triggered. What the tracking code does is A, it determines the location of your visitor, but then B, it either triggers the action or it does not trigger an action, based on whether the location criteria are met. So it doesn't matter whether the redirection happens or not. Every determination of the visitor location, so every page refresh, consumes 1 page view from your quota. And when it comes to the quota that you purchase, you can see that over here in the subscription. So basically the pricing of GeoTargetly is as follows. You can either purchase quota annually with a 20% discount compared to our monthly quota, and you just purchase a given amount of page views, and they refresh either every month or every year. So let's say that right now I would be on a dev plan. I consumed already some page views, so I'm at 452, and as you can see, today is March 13. Well, I just had 6 page views consumed. Even though we only saw 3 in the analytics, I had some other setups that I was using before starting to record this video for kind of testing and so on. So you can see that in total I consumed 6 today so far, but it was just 3 consumed by that one setup. So you can reconcile which setup is contributing how much to your consumption. Cool, that's everything in the application that I wanted to show you. Once again, the docs are your best friend. And if you go into Geo Redirect and into a specific setup, you can find the docs over here. So you can access the quick start guide or the whole documentation, as I already showed you. But if this is not enough, there are still other ways to kind of make sure that your setup is working as intended. And that is ideally by getting in touch with us. There are two options of getting in touch with us. First is the chat on our site. So you just hit this button and basically you can communicate with us over kind of live chat support over here. Or if this is not currently available because we only offer chat support in the work hours on the Central European time zone, you can get in touch with us over email. Just write us at support@geotargetly.com. If that's not sufficient, you can even get in touch with us or you can schedule a demo with us. So if you go into our homepage and many other places as well, there's a request the demo button or an option on that page, and this will allow you to schedule a one-on-one time either with me or my colleagues from support. Finally, if what you're seeing inside the application looks different from what I'm showing in this video, it might be due to the fact that since me recording this video, we released a new version of GeoTargetly or new version of Geo Redirect. In order for you to reconcile what the changes are and what they mean, I invite you to check out our roadmap. Basically, just scroll the way down to the footer and hit roadmap, and that will get you to our kind of roadmap and update section. And in that section you can see what were the latest improvements that we released for GeoTargetly, and you can see what I'm seeing is different because there's a new functionality somewhere there. You can find it in this list. That's all. I know this was super long, so sorry about that, but I really tried to be as detailed as possible. So if you still have some questions, do not hesitate to type them into the comment under the video, or as I said, get in touch via chat support or email. And with that, the only thing that remains for me to say is thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll have a great day.